Welcome to the Game Plots. I'm Anna, and today I would love to introduce you to a franchise that revolutionized the 3D fighting video games forever, called Tekken. The story begins with Heihachi Mishima and his wife, Kazumi Mishima. They train together in the Mishima Dojo and eventually fall in love and have a child named Kazuya. Everything was looking great until Heihachi suddenly learns that his wife is a devil. They fight, and Heihachi eventually kills her. Convinced that his son may have inherited the devil gene, Heihachi subjects Kazuya to a cruel test at the age of 5. He takes his son to the top of the cliff and tells him he's the one who killed his mother. After hearing this, Kazuya fights his father. But being a young child, Heihachi easily overpowers him and throws him off the cliff. Kazuya survived the fall that triggered the activation of the demonic entity known as the devil gene. Consumed by a thirst for revenge, Kazuya climbed back up the mountain to prove his strength and avenge his mother. As a young man, Kazuya travels around the globe and dominates in martial arts competitions, earning an undefeated reputation. 21 years later, his father Heihachi initiates the King of Iron Fist tournament to evaluate Kazuya's strength and worthiness. Kazuya advances to the final round and faces off against Heihachi in a fierce father-son showdown. Kazuya defeats his father. In an act of revenge for his childhood trauma, Kazuya tosses his father's unconscious body off the same cliff. With a smirk on his face, Kazuya becomes the owner of the Mishima Zaibatsu. After the King of Iron Fist tournament, Kazuya Mishima takes over the Mishima Zaibatsu and turns it into a more powerful and corrupt organization than ever before. Kazuya's descent into evil is fueled by his hatred towards his father. Meanwhile, Heihachi, whom Kazuya had previously defeated and thrown off a cliff, has trained himself and is now plotting to overthrow Kazuya. Seeking to eliminate Heihachi and his other enemies, Kazuya announces the second King of Iron Fist tournament, offering a massive cash prize of $1 trillion in the hopes that Heihachi will appear and provide an opportunity for Kazuya to take him out once and for all. At some point, Jun became pregnant with Kazuya's child and tried to sway the hold Devil had over him, but ultimately failed to prevent Kazuya from confronting Heihachi in the finals. During the battle, the devil gene within Kazuya took over his body, but he was not strong enough to overpower Heihachi due to the internal conflict between his good and evil sides, represented by angel and devil, respectively. Heihachi emerged victorious and threw Kazuya's unconscious body into a nearby volcano, taking revenge and reclaiming the Mishima Zaibatsu. 15 years have passed since the events of the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 2, and Heihachi Mishima has created the Tekken Force, a private military organization dedicated to safeguarding the Mishima Zaibatsu. However, Heihachi learns about the existence of Ogre, a malevolent creature possessing immortal blood, which he believes could be used to create the ultimate life form. He orders his Tekken Force soldiers to excavate an ancient temple in Mexico, but they are annihilated by Ogre, who disappears before Heihachi can capture it. Jun Kazama and her son Jin Kazama have been leading a peaceful life in Yakushima. Soon after Jin's 15th birthday, Ogre attacks their home. When he wakes up, Jin discovers that his mother is missing and his home has been burned to the ground. At that moment, his true power awakens. He seeks out Heihachi, his grandfather, and the leader of the Mishima Zaibatsu to train and help him defeat Ogre. After 4 years of rigorous training, Jin becomes a master of the Mishima karate style. On his 19th birthday, Heihachi announces the King of Iron Fist Tournament 3, and Jin eagerly prepares for the competition. Jin faces true Ogre and defeats him, avenging his mother's death and winning the tournament. After winning the tournament, Jin is gunned down by a squad of Tekken Force led by Heihachi. But Jin is revived by the devil within him, and he dispatches the soldiers, smashing Heihachi through the temple wall. Jin sprouts black, feathery wings and flies off into the night, leaving Heihachi to watch from the ground. Heihachi Mishima and his team of scientists attempted to splice Ogre's blood and tissue with Heihachi's genome to achieve immortality, but the experiment was unsuccessful due to Heihachi's lack of the devil gene. Heihachi sent his Tekken forces to retrieve Kazuya's remains, but the mission failed when Kazuya himself, who had been revived by the G Corporation a few days after his supposed death, wiped out the Tekken force. Heihachi announces the King of Iron Fist Tournament 4, offering the ownership of the Mishima Zaibatsu as the top prize to lure Kazuya and Jin out. However, Jin was ambushed and abducted by the Tekken force and taken to a Mishima dojo called Honmaru. Kazuya was declared the winner by default and proceeded to the final stage to confront Heihachi about Jin's disappearance. Heihachi brought him to Honmaru, where an unconscious Jin was being held captive. Before Heihachi could chain Kazuya up, the devil possessed Kazuya's body and explained that it had split from Kazuya's body 21 years ago and had possessed Jin. The devil then knocked out Heihachi and provoked Jin, causing him to awaken his devil powers and break free from his chains. Jin fought and defeated Kazuya and then defeated and exhausted Heihachi as well. Just as he was about to kill Heihachi, he had a vision of his mother, Jun Kazama, which caused him to spare Heihachi's life. Jin then sprouted his devil wings and flew away, leaving Kazuya and Heihachi unconscious in Honmaru. Moments after the events of Tekken 4, G Corporation helicopters descend on the Honmaru dojo, and Jack 4 machines are deployed. Kazuya and Heihachi Mishima team up to battle the Jacks, but Kazuya abandons his father to escape. While the Jacks hold Heihachi down, one of them activates its detonator, causing a massive explosion that appears to kill Heihachi. News of Heihachi's death spreads around the world, and the end of the Mishima Zaibatsu is anticipated. The King of Iron Fist Tournament 5 is announced 2 months after the events at Honmaru. Kazuya suspects that his grandfather, Jinpachi Mishima, whom Heihachi had confined under the dojo after a failed coup decades ago, was possessed by a malevolent spirit that granted him immense power. This allowed Jinpachi to escape during the Jacks' attack on Honmaru. Jin participated in the tournament and advanced to the final round, where he faced his formidable great-grandfather, Jinpachi Mishima, who had been trapped under Honmaru for 44 years by Heihachi. Jinpachi had arranged the tournament in hopes of finding someone with the power to defeat him and end the entity's reign of terror before it began. After defeating Jinpachi, Jin becomes heavily influenced by the devil, triggering the evil within him. Jin undergoes a transformation, therefore he acquires a new power. With this victory, Jin becomes the new leader of the Mishima Zaibatsu, paving the way for the events of Tekken 6. But before that, Heihachi rises from the ashes of Honmaru in a typical Tekken fashion, seeking revenge and attempting to dethrone Jin. Seriously, this family needs some therapy. After Jin's triumph in the King of Iron Fist tournament against his great-grandfather Jinpachi Mishima, he becomes the new head of the Mishima Zaibatsu Special Forces 6 months later. With the company's resources, Jin declares independence from nations and wages war against all nations for a year. Meanwhile, Kazuya puts a bounty on his son's head. In response, Jin announces the 6th King of Iron Fist tournament to draw out Kazuya. The Mishima Zaibatsu's war against the world rages on as their Tekken Force leader, Lars Alexandersson, defects from the army with his soldiers. Eventually, it is revealed that Lars is Heihachi Mishima's secret son, who has been plotting to take control of the Mishima Zaibatsu from Jin. Jin has been using Mishima Zaibatsu's resources to find out more information about the Devil Gene curse. Eventually, he comes to know of an ancient being known as Azazel. Jin wants to wake him up so he can rid himself of the Devil Gene. Lars and Raven defeat Azazel, however. He then self-destructs, blowing up the place. Jin arrives to tell everyone that Azazel is not dead yet, as only someone with the Devil Gene can kill him. Eventually, Azazel comes up from the debris and Jin fights him. Jin wins, but he falls alongside Azazel, triggering an explosion. Later on, Raven finds Jin, who still bears the devil symbol, meaning that he's still cursed. They contain and transport him in a helicopter. Jin wakes and blows up the helicopter and everyone in it. With Jin missing, Nina Williams takes over as the leader of the Zaibatsu and attempts to locate him, But Heihachi Mishima seizes the opportunity to regain control of the company and coerces Nina into working for him. The scene is cut and travels to the desert, where the soldiers have found Jin, who looks weak and can barely walk. As they try to get closer and capture him, he unleashes his devil powers. Jin is later seen walking in a town and once again surrounded by soldiers. This time he's rescued by Lars. After restoring the Mishima dojo to its former glory, Heihachi starts meditating, when all of a sudden Akuma enters, claiming he knew Kazumi and has come to kill Heihachi. However, their fight is short as Kazuya sends an army of Jack Sixes to kill them. Akuma and Heihachi work together and easily defeat all the enemies, while Kazuya watches from the eyes of one of the broken Jacks. Kazuya gets to see Akuma kill Heihachi. Akuma eventually reaches the doorstep of the G-Corp, and Kazuya calls off all guards so that they can fight devil to devil on the rooftop. Because of Akuma's overwhelming strength, Kazuya turns into a demon. Little does he know that Heihachi is alive and has been recording and broadcasting this fight to blackmail Kazuya with his demon form. Heihachi then uses a satellite to call a laser-guided strike on the G-Corp tower to kill Kazuya and Akuma. Kazuya survives and fires his devil laser at the satellite, causing it to crash down on Earth and kill many innocent people. After this, both Kazuya and Heihachi travel to a volcano to fight to the death. After an intense fight, Kazuya emerges victorious. He throws Heihachi off the cliff, finally killing him for good. After which, Akuma appears to kill Kazuya. Eventually, the scene is cut back to Jin, who is now well and vows to kill Kazuya and undo his terrible acts. Thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, consider hitting a like button and subscribing to the channel. Be seeing you soon.